to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, I'm honored to have you on this journey with me and for tuning into the show. Now, weekly, as you listen, between my guests and I really hope that we provide tips, strategies, ideas for you to navigate whatever change is going on in your life. Now, to help you with that journey, I have my free communication style assessment. It's my gift to you. You will get 2 reports. One, what is your natural communication style? I want you to lean into that and build from a place of strength. Flip side, you'll receive your lowest score and a report reflecting that, which shines a light on your blind spot. Probably more important to understand people who don't communicate like we do, so that we understand what they need to be able to receive our messaging, especially in the world of sales and business and career. So I hope that helps you on your journey of change. The link is in the show notes, so no worries, it's easy to find. Now, my motivational quote to kind of kick off the vibe of the show today is by Higgins, and Sean says, "Every day the clock resets. Your wins don't matter. Your failures don't matter. Don't stress on what was. Fight for what could be." Now, I love hosting the show because I do get to share some amazing guests with you to help you on your journey of change. Now, the byproduct, I think, for me is I also get to hear and learn new strategies, tips, and ideas from my guests for me navigating the change in my life and business. Now, many of us know we need to change an overhaul of the way we, and I'm going to do an air quotes for those listening on Apple Podcasts, we do life. We feel the need to move forward, but we aren't sure where to place our feet to take that next first step. The learning and growing never ends. And if we allow new ideas and strategies into our lives, using the information from the show, for instance, and then take the information and apply it today, I love seeing the magic that we can create together. Now, today, my guest is Elizabeth Hamilton-Guarino. Elizabeth is the founder of the Best Ever You Network and the Chief Executive Officer of Compliance for. Elizabeth is the author of 8 books, God bless her, including the award-winning book, Percolate, Let Your Best Self Filter Through, and her latest, the Change Guidebook, my kind of book, How to Align Your Heart, Truths, and Energy to Find Success in All Areas of Your Life. Now, Elizabeth is a member of the Forbes Business Council and lives in Maine with her husband and 4 sons. Please help me welcome Elizabeth to the show. Thank you, my friend, for being on.
Thank you so much, Connie, for that wonderful, warm welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's good to hear. Good to be here to talk about change. My favorite topic. Yours too, it sounds like.
and well, yes. And here's the thing, right? Change. It's here. It's never going away. So let's learn to deal with it, right? And be able to take control of the things that we can actually control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the Change book, talk about, why did you write this book? You have 7 others and this is your 8th. Why now? Why this book?
Well, I think I thought and still think that we needed a book to kind of meet us in this moment after COVID of like, what are we going to do next? Yeah. And the book really helps us navigate forward. It's intended to meet you right in that moment and help you, whether it's a change you asked for or a change that you want to make deliberately, to help you move forward. And if I backtrack that a little bit, I really started this process of learning about change all the way back in 2004. My father is a stroke survivor, was a stroke survivor. He passed away in 2018, in late 2018.
So
and
sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And it really threw our family for a loop and him for a loop and just, everybody around. And it wasn't a club or a change we wanted at all. And it really got me thinking about how do people navigate stuff like this? How it's and the concepts in the book apply whether you're having a change that you don't ask for or whether you're trying to make a deliberate change. So
yeah, and I think when we're making a deliberate change, it feels exciting to a little scary, but exciting because we're choosing it. But then in that situation, again, so sorry for your loss. I mean, that's a big loss, right? The patriarch of the family, and gone in a second. That is not a change that we could get excited about. Yes, we could celebrate their life and all of those things. COVID, how many of us lost people we loved? Like, these are real things that aren't fun, but you
No.
have to navigate them. You can't just, right. We can't just curl up and die. That's not an answer as well, because that's not living, right? We want to still show up and live our best life, whatever that means for everybody listening.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, in my first book, Percolate, Let Your Best Self Filter Through, it really was the story of my dad surviving that stroke. So from 2004 to 2018, he was a stroke survivor, and he survived a stroke and subsequent ones that most people just don't survive. And they called him the ICU warrior, and his will to live and faith and hope and all those things combined to really teach our family like a huge lesson. So he's part of this book as well, although it's more about him passing and helping my mom, because when you've been married 45 years, one of the things that happens is the other person doesn't live as well. Sometimes the statistics are like within 5 years, the other parent is gone. And so and not to be a bummer or anything, but, just to keep people on the planet and here and stuff. And I talk about in the book, a really powerful conversation I had with my mom about surviving and changing, and just it's been very bumpy.
Life is bumpy, right, Elizabeth? Nobody escapes the bumps. And it's funny that your dad lasted that 14 years. That was his purpose at the end, right? To help you guys understand that change is change and what can you do, and helped you with those lessons that you needed to learn. And look, you're writing a book and you're paying that information forward. What a beautiful gift.
Yeah, I was like, what am I going to do without you? And he's like, you're going to put one paw in front of the other, because he knows I like animals, and keep going. And it was really hard for 2 solid years. I was seriously like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do the Best Ever You network. I'm feeling my worst, actually, kind of thing. And I could only imagine how my mom felt. And so to have another book come out of all of that is powerful.
Powerful.
It really is. So it's really, I think with this book, the first book, Percolate, it was about change as well, but this book's really focused. This book is really, how do you do this? It's a 10-point plan in there of how to navigate change, and how to talk also through that about your heart, what's authentically your truth, and what are you going to do with all that energy? Because, we are not entitled to time. That's the one lesson I really learned. I'm like, whoa, I thought my parents are going to be here forever and ever and ever. And I wasn't really kind of thinking, oh boy, one of them might pass. 2 of them might, I wasn't thinking like that.
Living life.
I was living life and taking things for granted and all that stuff. And it just didn't sit well with me. And what didn't sit well with me also was, how could such a terrible thing happen to such an awesome person?
Yes.
I hate that.
I get
you. I'm like, are you kidding me?
The higher power, right?
Oh, yeah, it bugs me a lot.
Not that we want to hear that. Break that
No.
higher power. We want them here. Can I tell you though, this is the legacy of your dad, what you're creating. And that's he's gotta be, looking down on you if you believe in heaven or whatever, but he's looking down on you and go, yeah, girlfriend, you keep going, my daughter, right? Go make those paws, keep those paws.
Yeah, paws moving.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So why this book, right? You've written it, obviously it's a byproduct or the ripple effect, let's say, from your first book and from your dad's passing, and he's still a big part of that. But why a guidebook on change? Why do you think it's so needed right now? I agree. Why do you think it?
Yeah, I think it's because people have such a fear around it. I mean, my goal in writing this book is to change the conversation around change from fear to, oh, this, I know how to navigate this, remove the fear, the anxiety, the negativity, the stigma with change, and change that conversation. So people are like, oh, I've got that tool in my toolbox. I can navigate that a little bit better. And to really understand that, there's powerful things that you can do to navigate change to make it all a little bit easier, including the community that's around you and the impact that you can have on other people through navigating change, because you can turn around and teach other people what you've done, and there's a flight path. And it's a cool topic if you let it be.
If you let it in.
Yeah.
Because I just taught a class this week at one of my corporate clients, and I always talk about energy, right? That we're energetic beings, and our clients and our prospects, they feel that. So, if you're having a bad day, what do you need to do to come out of that energy, especially when you're trying to serve a client in front of you? and we talked about the ebbs and flows of life, like we're talking about right now. Bad things happen. No human on earth escapes the bad things in life, like death, right? A sick child, COVID. We've all faced loss through COVID. No one escapes. So what I share is that when we ride that wave, when things are really going good in life, just everything is clicking and it feels good and it's easy. We're in flow, right? There's no tragedy around us. We're living these little boring lives, so to speak, but, right? Because when drama comes, that's when I feel like the change could be thrust upon us. Ride that wave. And I'm doing hands now. You guys could go to my YouTube channel, but it's like ride the wave, make it really, really big and long. And then when the bad things happen, because they're going to happen, it goes down and up really, really fast, so that you come out of that using the tools in your toolbox, right? Or your tool belt to create the new engine or the new energy to bring you out and whatever the next reiteration is in life. That's life though. And we're all facing it. No one escapes.
Yeah. And just a solid, healthy perspective too. Because I think different things warrant different reactions and responses and so forth.
Yeah.
Not everything is all on the same level of reactivity and response for change. And so just that really healthy perspective around what's happening in your life, and then a very healthy respect for time. I help my clients really go down to, minute by minute almost, of like, what exactly are you doing with your time and energy? And if you're not doing what you want to do, it's time to change. It's time to pivot and make those adjustments. And I think we're seeing that more and more right now as an after effect of COVID. Even during COVID, you're seeing people make those pivots, because there really isn't anything like a pandemic, and for you to feel like your life is threatened, or those around you are going to be threatened, to really get the perspective that you might need to make some of those dramatic changes. And we're seeing people leave jobs. We're seeing people move out of commotion. We're seeing people make all sorts of different changes. And some of them are jaw dropping, and you just have to put a layer of respect in there and give a nod and go, you're doing what you need to do. You go for it.
Right.
Instead of the judgment type of stuff.
Yeah. We love to judge.
What are they doing? Kind of thing. It's like, you know what? They're doing what they need to do.
Yeah. Amen. And
Yeah.
here's the other thing, that they have the realization to make that change, whatever it is for them.
Yeah.
You're right. There shouldn't be judgment. There should be, send them the love and courage to keep forging forward with their journey, because it's their journey. It's not ours. So who are we to judge?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor and talk about two of the pillars? Let's do, because we don't have time to go through all 10 pillars, obviously, or 10 points of change. Can you maybe share two? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like you want me to go through the last two or the first? Let's go through the last two. I won't.
Okay.
It's not a book where it's like fiction and you're going to spoil the end of it or anything like that. So it's a nonfiction book, but I like the last two with master and implement, because I really want to remind people that even if you don't feel like you're an authority on a topic, you probably are in some way, especially with a little bit of years added to you. There's always wisdom. You might not be the smartest person, but you might have the mileage put in to be an authority on that topic, especially with your, kids or loved ones and so forth. And so I think it's really important to remind people that you can mentor and be a master of change and master of your topic and so forth, and really impact lives around you. And in the book, there are 20 people who contributed to the book. So the structure of the book is narrative from me, 2 exercises to kind of illustrate the point, and then 2 stories in each chapter from real life people just like you and me, to help you so that you understand how they've navigated change and how they got through it and what they did and so forth. So I put 20 really relatable stories in there. And at the end of the book is former Senator Olympia J. Snowe. And there's no politics involved with her story or anything like that, so don't worry about that. But it's a story about her being an orphan as a young child to where she is today. And today she's this human being who owns the Olympia Snowe Leadership Institute for Women here in the state of Maine. And she signed, I'm an Olympia Snowe leader, and nothing politics or anything like that. It means that there's 2 adults for 5 girls in each grade, in each high school in the state of Maine that get mentored by us adults. And they're kids that might not ordinarily get to college. They might drop out of school. They have things that are in the way, and they're brilliant in this way and might have things in their path that are preventing them from their brilliance. And so it's a really huge honor to, number one, be part of that organization, to be donating books this fall so that every girl is going to get the book.
Ugh.
And and have her, I have goosebumps, and have her in the book is so huge. And again, I don't care what your politics are. This is humanity. And that's
right.
why I put her I was afraid. I'm like, no, don't get all politics on me here, everybody. It's about humanity and giving back. And that's what I mean. You have the power, and maybe not at that level, but I know you have the power at some level to impact another human being in a positive way, to change their trajectory. And that's really what the Change Guidebook is about. It's about starting here and understanding your blessings and gifts and how unique and authentic you are, and impacting other people so that we have a circle of humanity involved. That's really what the heart of the book.
And it's funny that and listen, I get it.
Yeah.
I get what's going on in the world, but
Yeah.
that you wanted to comment that, and you went back and forth. Do I include a senator? There's political.
Oh yeah.
But here's the bottom line. And you said it beautifully. It is humanity. And here's the thing. Her journey is one of struggle. She was not, she wasn't
not easy, what she's been through. Oh,
right. So, but isn't that every human on this planet has some struggle? And here's the other thing, that again, whatever your political views doesn't matter, because we label and we judge instead of saying, wow, rough journey, look at what she's accomplished and look at what she's giving back to people who started where she started, and trying to give them that leg up so that they can share their brilliance with the world and maybe do it a little bit easier. How beautiful a gift from her time and energy, right? Where she could have said, I did it, figure it out. And that's not.
Yeah.
So when you say humanity, she is a rock star for humanity, for humanity, but for those that just weren't handed the best dealt at birth,
Yeah. And, I love what you just said, I did it, you figure it out. That's a common attitude that we have toward other people.
Yeah.
I did it, you figure it out. I'm not a real big fan of that. I love to give people the flight path and connect with mentors and network so that you have it easier than I had it. Because I didn't have me personally, I didn't have, here, let me just help you out and show you what to do. I had you get to figure this all out on your own from a pretty young age. Same thing. So I navigated, and I picked up early in my 20s. Oh, I get it. Mentors. But in that same chapter of impact is a gal by the name of Haley Stark, who at the time of her spinal stroke was a teenager. And now Haley, I know her from my son, our youngest son, Quade, they went to school together here in Maine. Haley goes to Harvard and has written her own book. So you can have impact at any age. Haley's in her early 20s, and she's a huge story in the book, right along Senator Olympia J. Snow. And, the impact that we have is just incredible, no matter what age.
No matter what age. And here's the thing, and this is why I love this show so much, because I do get to meet people and have conversations with people like you that are forward thinking, open-minded. We all judge, we're human, but that we try to keep that judgment in perspective so that we're sharing more love than negative judgment or labeling and stuff like that. We really need to come out of this labeling cycle, I think, as humans, because we could get so much more done together than we can, you and me as individuals.
It's exhausting thinking about, that's one of my messages. I feel like I can't get that message out fast enough and to enough people. It's like, work together. I really strongly believe that every human being, if we approached every human being that crosses our path with a sense of elegance and grace and collaboration and compassion and kindness, everything would shift. It's just such a different moment when you take that pause
Yeah.
and encounter people in a different way, rather than the hurried, get out of my way, honk, honk, all that stuff that we do. The hurry up and move out of my way kind of approach, instead of, slow down and let me figure out, who you are in this moment. You've crossed my path. And even if it's, you don't sit down and have a conversation, but you're just kind in the moments, it changes everything.
Kindness, right? It all comes back to
Kindness,
the other thing.
gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah, and gratitude, but the words you used, right? Kindness and open heart and listening and compassion and empathy. I think I'm going to say
Elegance.
elegance. I love that
Elegant,
word. I love it. That graciousness,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, to be gracious with each other. I think in the past decade, maybe a little bit less than that, I've seen a big shift where those words that you used were viewed as vulnerable and viewed as weak, like don't do that because it's weak. And I think we're coming out the other side saying, really, the strength comes from empathy and graciousness and elegance and all of the gratitude. There's actually strength behind that. So I see a big shift happening. That makes me hopeful.
Well, me too. And also we're mothers of 6 boys between us.
Yeah.
And I'm also seeing that shift with men. And I think we need more and more. In fact, I was just in the pool the other day with the kids, and I was in the pool with my 27-year-old and my 21-year-old. And they were like, Mom, you need to do something for Best Ever You for men, for boys. We need more help as men and boys, because people don't like boys. They think we're trouble. They think we're bad. They think we don't pay attention. They think that we're all these things. And I'm like, you guys were raised with #gratitude on the refrigerator. You guys, and he goes, yeah, even us, we encounter it all the time. People think we're not smart. People, and they get straight A's, all this stuff. And it just really made me think. And I never have said too much out loud. This is probably the first time I'm opening my mouth about it. And I agree. I'm like, I focused for so long on my audience on Best Ever You is half and half. It's always been 50%. And I'm
Love
thinking,
it.
I know why now. And I wasn't really ever paying attention because I don't sell advertising. And I don't really, I'm like, yeah, it's half. So we do both. And I keep the content. So it's not all women and not all guys, but they're like, no, we need something for guys. And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point.
See, and it goes back to even the kids see it, where we all struggle with something, and generationally, there's always something that's a struggle for whatever that next generation is, right? Like our kids graduated college and COVID hit.
Yeah.
If they couldn't find a remote job, they didn't have a job. So
Yeah.
does that mean the world's going to end? I said to my son, you just put more into retirement, a little more, so you could catch up for those 2 years of loss, so that you're still going to be fine the trajectory when you go to retire in whatever number of years. So it's just changing your plan a smidge because it didn't work out. Oh, well, COVID, had another thing in mind for us. Want to dig in a little bit on the alignment of heart, truth, and energy that you write about. And I just love the concept that, the #gratitude on your refrigerator. But why is it important to have this alignment of heart, truth, and energy?
Dog barking. I promise the puppies might bark. So those are my 3 favorite words other than gratitude: heart, truths, and energy. Heart, truths, and energy, because I really believe if you go from here, we spend a lot of time here, and my specialty is bringing people right here and going, okay, let's put our hands over our heart and think about it from this point of view. What is it that's really, what's your heart saying? What's the real internal? You can put your hands on your gut, your heart. I like heart because it's like, okay, what am I passionate about? What do I love to do? And then with the truth, are you living that truth? And are you taking action toward that truth and heart? What are you doing with your time and energy? And so if I put my hands over my heart and I say, well, what I really want to do is bake cookies all the time and be a master chocolate chip cookie baker. And I'm saying that 'cause I love to make cookies, by the way. And that's what I want to do all the time with my time. Well, I'm not really doing that, but I really love it. but I'm not really doing, and there's that back and forth of,
Friction.
oh, I want to quit this job and become a painter. Oh, I want to quit this job and do this, that, want to stay home with my kids. But every time I think about that and I talk about it out loud, somebody gives me crap for wanting to be an at-home mom. I got a lot of crap for being an at-home mom. That's personal to me. Just think about where your heart is and what you want. And then take a big giant roll of bubble wrap and I, and that's that. Be authentically you, and you place your energy where what you want to do. And bubble wrap is my little humor.
I love the visual.
Yeah, just,
You can bounce off the wall and not get hurt.
Yeah, I'm like, you want to play football? I'm going to bubble wrap you. No, but you know what I mean. It's kind of a joke, but serious in a way. In that, if without the bubble wrap, you're exposed to everybody, their opinions, their judgment, what they want for you, not what you want for you. And all of that has, if you don't go la, 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 and put the filter, I call it a personal filtration system up on, you're not living your authentic truth. If I do what you want me to do, that's going to be different probably than what I want to do for me. And we make these adjustments all the time based on what somebody says, does. Sometimes you can't unhear it, and it sinks in. And I think about, I have a college athlete. We have 4 boys. They all played baseball, and one of them played in college. And I think about him a lot because, people from Maine aren't known to be, the best college athletes, out there, it's especially baseball, they're coming from the South and all this stuff. And there's a lot of you're not going to do that. You're not, the naysayers. I think about all the things that got said to him, all the things that have been said to him recently as he transferred from New Haven to Georgetown to play baseball this year. He made a full-on transfer. And I think about just in general, all the things that get said to us and how we need to filter that out to stay right here with our heart, with our authentic us, you, and with our energy, our precious energy, because we're not entitled to the time. And that's how it goes round and round in the book.
And it goes round and round. And it's funny, my husband and I were talking about this recently, and I said, why do we become cynical? Why do we become like the wind out of our sails when we hear something on the news or whatever? And little by little, I don't think we know it's even happening unless you stop and pause. But we're being manipulated and I don't, through media, through advertisements, through the naysayers, and we're constantly being told what we should and shouldn't do. And if we don't stop to pause to say, what am I feeling? What do I want? And we're just serving, and I serve big with my clients, right? That's my jam. But on the same token, you can't take advantage of me. I won't allow that, right? There has to be this exchange, this good exchange of wonderful energy. But we have naysayers. We have people that tell us, you can't do that, because they're projecting onto us what they feel they can't do. It's fear. It's all coming from a place of fear. But little by little, it wears us down and wears us down.
If you let it. If you let it.
Yeah.
And like, so that's one of the things that I, a client of mine will come in and say, look, here's where I'm at with this. I want to make this change. And this feels like this is what's preventing it, and so forth. And the attitude, our attitude is shaped. Is shaped by all these things we hear and say and do, unless we consciously and subconsciously kind of wire in that programming differently, because you hear I can't, and you're like, no, wait a minute, I can. And the I can has to overcome the I can't. And I have really cool tools for that in the book and in my coaching, where you're like, nope, I can. And it's sort of like well, who says you can't? If you've let that in, and it's then you saying I can't, or you being negative. So it's the filtration and maybe a little bit of reprogramming or memorization or affirmations. You've got to retrain your brain sometimes to think a certain way. Because I promise you, if you were to pull an athlete on here, like a world-class athlete on here, they visualized their success before they ever got started.
That's right.
And they programmed their mindset to success before they ever got started. And when they felt doubt or that they couldn't, somebody stepped in and said, wait a minute, I got you. We're going to reprogram again. And the floor to ceiling changes. the reprogramming. And so if we don't have people like that to meet us in our moments where we're trying to grow but feel stuck, that's what's happening there. You've got to, with each growth opportunity, you almost have to reprogram your mindset to match what it is that you're trying to do, because it's a new level of growth. Otherwise we get stuck in that wheel of like, and some people don't get out of that wheel of
it's hard.
Because they don't have the tools.
Yeah, it's all about tools in the toolbox. There's a really cool quote. We're out of time, but a real cool quote. It says something like, "True success is when you're able to unlearn, relearn, unlearn, relearn."
Oh, yeah,
it's like,
welcome to my life. I feel like we should play that song. Welcome to my life.
Right?
Yeah, it's a constant unlearn, relearn, and unlearn, relearn growth. And it's that true discomfort. When you feel discomfort and fear and things like that in a healthy way, anyway, that's your cue for growth.
Yeah, it's magic. And you got to let it in. But I see you said it before. You need the tools in the tool belt to do those pattern interrupts of, I can't wait, I can. Where did I hear that? And then go and examine. But that's not a truth, right? Somebody told me that, but that doesn't make it true for me. It's these little pattern interrupts that we need to do. Unlearn, relearn, unlearn, relearn.
Yeah, once you make it true for you, that's when you get in the stuck pattern. So you got to figure out that's the truth. You got to figure out what your truth is and stay there.
And what you'll accept and what you won't accept, right?
Yeah,
so
that's the bubble wrap.
That's the bubble wrap. Put that bubble wrap on.
Get that bubble wrap going.
I love it. So here's the deal, all listening. Elizabeth, I think you need more Elizabeth in your life. So I'm going to give you her website. It's besteveryou.com. If you have a question specifically for Elizabeth, email her at elizabeth@besteveryou.com. And of course, my guests are amazing. And she has a free gift, besteveryou.com/change guidebook. And just tell everybody what that is so that they can, the links will be in the show notes, everyone. But Elizabeth, just tell everybody what that is.
It's an assessment. It's a pretty juicy download. It's pretty long. And it's a really good download that goes with chapters 1 and 2 of the book. It's an assessment that I use in my own life every year for years now, that I just made available. They cleaned it up a little bit and made it pretty, and it's out the door, and people are loving it. It's a good one to use on your birthday every year.
See here, another little hack, right? That's a habit hack. On your birthday, do it. And then you can, this is the other thing too. I'm loving this because we're very quick. I didn't get to, the year's over, I didn't accomplish. We never stop to reflect back. And the birthday is a great time to do that. What did I accomplish in my 59th year, 51st year, whatever it is, right? Let me look back. What did I actually accomplish? And then say, holy moly, let me celebrate that. And you know what? All those things I didn't do, are they still important? Reevaluate. Maybe they weren't that important, and that's why you didn't.
My language. And not at the new year on your birthday. Let's your birthday. It's the new year, of course, or something. But birthday time is such a good time to reflect and do that, because we want to be all grateful for our aging. The alternative sucks. So we want to be like really happy about that birthday and be like, yes, okay, I've been given some more moments here. What am I going to do with them?
That's right.
And what have I yet to achieve? So yeah.
So now I'm going to download that assessment and give it to everybody in my family. And I'm going to say on their birthday and on my birthday, did you do the assessment again? Let's reflect, right? Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate what we have accomplished and not put ourselves down for what we haven't. We really are our own worst enemies. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's a working document too. So if you're taking that and you're like, oh, I really wish you'd add this to it, you let me know, email me, because I make edits to that document based on what people say and suggest.
I love it.
That's a good idea.
I love live documents because here's the thing. People, like I always say, I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room, right, Elizabeth? Yeah, so if somebody, I go, oh, I never even saw that. That's a good one, right? My people could really, really use that. Thank you so much for being on. It's just lovely meeting you, and everything you're about is like spot on for me in my life. So truly a joy having this conversation. Thank you again for the free gift and for the birthday. That again, everybody, here's the tip, the takeaway: do it on your birthday and reflect back. So thank you so much.
Buy yourself some bubble wrap.
Yes. And I love that. Or here's the other thing, have it next time bubble wrap comes, I'm going to have a piece and I'm going to stick it on my monitor as a reminder of deflect, right? Let it bounce off me. I'm going to keep doing Connie. You're going to keep doing Elizabeth, right? Yeah, love it. Thanks again. And lovely meeting you. And I hope you will all join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together. It doesn't matter what change you're facing or on your path, on your journey of life. My guests and I, we have you. We are a community. We need to be community driven. We need to help each other rise. And you've got it, So thank you for tuning in every week. And I will keep bringing magical guests like Elizabeth to the show to share just nice ways to live life a little bit easier, a little bit better, and a little bit happier. And that's really what we should be doing in this lifetime. So thank you for tuning in to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. As always, I am honored to have you on this journey of change with me and my guests. And I hope that together, my guests and I have provided some tip that just resonated with you, that you literally downloaded into your being. Put it into action today after listening to the show. And we promise you, watch the magic that happens. Again, I'm honored that you're on this journey with me. Thank you again, Elizabeth. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one, filled with inspiration and love. Till next time.